Hello, welcome to Lot 76 Cars. My name's Simon and welcome to the 2023 Bromley Pageant of Motoring. There's a huge selection of cars here today. In fact, two full fields full of classic and modern classic cars. Something for everybody. Hope you enjoy the video. So shout out to the guys at the Forest Hill and District Classic Car Club because their display is probably one of the most diverse I've seen. We've got a Triumph 2-litre Vitesse, we've got a Daimler SP250, sometimes mistakenly known as the Daimler Dart, but name not used officially due to litigation by Dodge. We've got a Roots Group Humber Scepter, that's a beauty, isn't it? And next to it we've got a Cavalier SRI. It doesn't appear to be the 130, it's a facelift car, so what would that be, an 86? That's a stunning car. And one car next to it I'm going to linger over a bit longer. I haven't seen a Mark 1 200 SX Nissan for years. I once drove one of these around the Donington track many years ago when it was new, and I had the 200 SX replacement, more sedan shaped car, but these with the pop-up lights and this smoother, more apparently aerodynamic styling, these were lovely, weren't they? And we've got an E30 BMW. Doesn't that look a beauty? Replaced the Bauer Park convertible, and it's a full convertible. Then we've got, I think that must be a Fiat or an Auto Bianchi. I will check on that one. Not sure, I think it's the 600. A Lancia HF Fulvia. And then, oh look at this beauty, it's a Mark 1 and a beautiful Mark 1 Fiesta. Isn't that a stunning car? It's got that sort of houndstooth trim inside that my Escort used to have back in the day. This is in stunning order, this one, isn't it? Wow, what a car. Well, that's certainly an early favourite for a car of the show with me anyway. Looks lovely, doesn't it? So here, this 1963 Moggy 1000, the owner's going to tell us a bit more about this. I was a subject of a long restoration, so let's have a chat with her now. So Maria, tell us about this fabulous Moggy 1000. You rebuilt this, didn't you?
Yeah, me and my dad, it took us 10 years to rebuild from ground upwards. I bought it and it was like a rust bucket. The floors were gone, the wings were gone, everything was gone. We just kept it original, nothing's been modified, nothing's been changed on it. Everything's standard.
You had to perfect some welding skills then.
Yeah, my dad's a fully welder, so
that is handy, isn't it? That's very handy. Yeah,
very handy. My dad did all the welding on it. I spray painted the wheels and stuff like that on it.
And how long have you had it on the road?
It's been 2 years now.
Oh, so fabulous! And you use it on a regular basis?
No, just for car shows.
Oh, fantastic!
Just for car shows. I've got a little Fiesta for normal basics, but this one's just for car shows. Lovely little classic, as we always like.
And what attracted you? Why a Moggy 1000?
I've always wanted a classic car, and I looked at the Moggy and I was like, this would be an ideal car for me, as I'm only 29 this year.
Fabulous.
So a little car, little one on the road.
Excellent. Oh, well, thank you for telling us about it. Much
no
appreciated.
worries.
Thank you. So the Jensen Interceptor that we all know actually was predated by another Interceptor, and there's a couple of them here just entering the show. So launched in 1950, these were only the second car that Jensen actually produced. So as I say, this is the original Interceptor, and this is a lovely car, isn't it? Now the owner's trying to work out where to go, so we've got the chance to have a closer look and hear it running. Oh, it purrs along, doesn't it? What a beauty. So this beauty is a Roman bronze Mark IV Cortina 2-litre gear auto. Now the Mark IVs had a much lower survival rate than the Mark Vs, allegedly due to inadequacies in terms of rust protection on the Mark IVs versus the Mark Vs, but it's seldom you will see a Mark IV. You're more likely to see a Mark V with the wraparound indicators. This one's in stunning condition, got the sort of row style type wheels on it, got those lovely spot lamps, driving lamps on the front, beautiful biscuit coloured interior. Oh, I'm liking this one, guys. I don't know about you, but I really like this one. And the paintwork is absolutely flawless on this one. There you have it, a stunning Mark IV Cortina. So this is one of two Lotus Cortina 4-doors. Yeah, you heard that right, Lotus Cortina 4-doors that were purchased by the Mid Anglia Force. In fact, both survived. We're going to have a chat with the owner in a second. It's got all the traits of potentially 1600E, but as the owner said, and he'll tell us a bit more about it, he had a very pleasant surprise with this car when he found out it was in fact a genuine Lotus Cortina police car 4-door. Jim, tell us about this fabulous police car. I saw it here last year. I think it's the Mid Anglia division, but it's a genuine Lotus Cortina police car, isn't it?
Yeah,
4-door.
that's correct. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a 4-door. Mid Anglia had two of them, and both survived, funny enough. And the other one lives in Kettering.
Oh wow.
Well, from what we understand, there are 8 4-door originally made for different police forces.
Just 8?
That's all we know. But as we know, there's only 2 that have survived as yet. I mean, they might pop out the woodwork yet. You know?
And when you bought it, did you realise it was obvious it was a police car? It was still striped up, or it was somebody?
Oh no! Someone had just put like a Lotus stripe down the side of it, a green stripe down there.
Right.
And you know, it was in sorry state when I saw it, and I thought, well, someone's tried to put Lotus stuff in a normal 4-door, you know, must have been off their head. Apart from the logbook, got the logbook, and put it in the garage, and about 3 or 4 years later decided to do something with it, started to scrap it. And then I realised that this shell's not correct. You know, it's not a 1600E shell, it's not a GT shell because it was a late car, and I thought something different about it. So anyway, looking around, cleared all the leaves off from under the bonnet, and there was the hole for the cable accelerator. So I thought, oh, I've got to find more about this. So I pushed it in the garage, but that's it. Stop now. Mind you, that was after I'd sold the clocks and the seats and God knows what. And I did know more. I spoke to Scott Simpson of the Lotus Register, and I said, have you ever heard of 4-door Lotus Cortina? He said, well, yeah, I have. He said, you know, it's a rare vehicle you've got there. So I thought, he said, but I don't know whereabouts it's come from. So I did know more. I thought, well, it's a Cambridge registration, so I did know more. I phoned up Cambridgeshire Police, and I was talking to the guy in the garage, John Robinson, and he couldn't have had a more helpful man.
Wow.
Oh, so helpful. And he said, well, I don't know whether it is ours. He said, but what I'll do, I'll ask all the retired policemen, because they know all the records, they got all the records. Yeah, so about a month later, he got back to me, he said, yeah, he said, it is one of ours. He said, 588 is also one of ours, which is the next registration. And I got in contact with the guy who owned 588, he lived in Kettering, and so we became good friends over it, you know, because I had all the information, but most of it was about his car. But yeah, so I thought, oh well, that's it, it's got to be restored.
So you fancy a Ford Escort Cabriolet, and there's not quite enough room in one of them for everything you want to take. Well, you just get another one, and you saw the back off, and you make a trailer. And you match it in the same colour, and then you've got one of the most eye-catching rigs in town. That is... So under the leadership of Robert Jankel, Panther Car Company built cars in Surrey. One of the small cars they produced was originally the Panther Lima, and then later on in life became called the Panther Callista. Originally with Vauxhall engines, and then I think with Ford engines after this. You'll notice some of the details on it. Do you recognise those doors from anywhere? The doors are, I believe, midget doors, MG midget doors. Lovely handcrafted car. This one is in silver over green, and it's a little stunner. And next to it we've got a brown with the cream inlays as well. Both stunning cars, not built in absolutely huge numbers, really specialist vehicles, but there does appear to be quite a good survival rate. Oh, lovely. So here's the XJ40 built in the John Egan period, pre-Ford days. A big step forward this car was in terms of quality and addressing some of the issues that Jaguar had as a brand pre-John Egan. It had the digital dash on the early cars. Obviously looks a little bit dated now, but pretty cutting edge at the time. Digital information display pad near the steering wheel will So these XK8s built on the platform, well, a lot of shared components with the XJS. If you look at them underneath, they are stunning value. Now this is an early one, so P97. You know, that must be one of the first cars. I think the factory had some end plated cars. As I said, they look like incredible value now. They're a pretty car. So towards the back end of Cavalier Mark II production, they ran a special edition version. This has got to be late because I had a Mark III car which was also F registered. This one's the LX, so it's got the body kit, a lot of the sort of design features of the SRIs. Those lovely wheels, the red stripe in there. That's in beautiful order, isn't it? We'll try and take a look from the back. It's the more useful hatchback. And it's in stunning condition. I think I've seen this car before in actual fact and filmed it last year. It's a beauty. So the owner's very kindly opening the door for me. We'll just take a quick look inside. So proper decent bucket seats, and it's in mint condition. That's absolutely lovely. So we're just going to walk over to the Renault stand. So a few for you, Mark on Motoring. Hope you're watching. We've got a couple of lovely spiders. I think this was a bit of a project like Patrick Lequemont, built in small numbers. Some of them built without the windscreens, but I think not important to the UK. These are right-hand drive, a real back to basics car in terms of approach. Something that I guess would rival a slightly more usable Elise. Beautiful looking cars. How they managed to get this project signed off, I'm not quite sure, but we're so glad they did because they are lovely, aren't they? Absolutely lovely. Try not to trip up. Two of them, both in yellow. Absolute stunners they are. So we're going to have a chat with the owner in a second about this absolutely fantastic Renault 20. Have you seen another one? No, I haven't. They're reckoned to be about 5 in the UK. This one was a family car, and we'll get the owner to tell us a bit more about it. That hatchback design, the 20 had the 4-cylinder, the 30 had the 6-cylinder. These are just so rare. I absolutely adore it. And you know, if I see a Mark 1 Renault 25 as well, my day's complete. I can go home. Doesn't it look lovely? It's a 2.2 TX automatic. I think TX was pretty much top of the range. We'll take a look inside it in a second, and I say we'll have a chat with the owner who's just at a shot at the moment. Jason, you've made my day. I've seen a Renault 20, and you say you've also got a 30 as well. That's just plain greedy. Tell us about these cars. This 20 is amazing condition.
The 20 I've had 36 years.
Wow.
It's my dad's car first of all, and then I've done it all up, and we've been showing it for about 10-15 years now. And I've also got a Renault 30. That's quite a big project. Should hopefully be on the road next year.
And the 30 is what, 6-cylinder is it?
6-cylinder.
And it's got the dual headlamps rather than the square headlamps. Okay, I
Tons.
recognise them. So how many of these are actually left of 20s?
I believe there's about 5.
Five in the UK?
Yeah.
Because even in France and on Autoscout and others I've checked, there's just a handful of the cars available.
That's right.
How do you find parts for it then?
It can be really difficult getting them, but over the years I've managed to, at different shows, pick up pieces and keep them in stock, eBay, things like that.
Oh, fabulous. And you've gone far and wide with it?
Oh yeah, I've been to quite a few places. This used to be our main car, so all over the country really.
So some great memories with this car as a
Definitely,
family, going
yeah.
out, going to places with it, holidays.
Car I learnt to drive in.
Oh, you learned to drive in it as well?
Yeah,
And it survived that experience and it's
It
still on the
has.
road today?
Yes.
Oh, fabulous. Well, thank you for telling me about it. Much appreciated.
That's
Thank
all
you.
right. Thank you.
Cheers. Bob, tell us about this Thames. So Anglia based, but Thames was the Ford commercial brand. 5 cubic weight. I'm not sure what that equates to in real money now, but you've had this van a long time?
About 6 years. It's not totally standard. It's actually got a Cortina engine, but that's the same family. So the historic commercial boys don't mind too much as long as it's the same family of engine.
Okay, but I guess a bit underpowered with the standard engine.
Originally 997, so yes, a bit underpowered in today's modern traffic. The 1500 keeps up quite well.
And you bought it in this condition, or you've done lots of work to it?
No, it was pretty much this condition when I bought it, yes.
And why a Thames sort of Anglia type van? What was the attraction? You knew them from back in the day, or what was the connection?
It was the first van that I used at the garage I worked for. back in the 70s.
Oh, that's brilliant. So some fond memories about driving these, yeah?
It's just the wrong colour. Other than that, it's pretty much the same.
So
Yes.
this is the standard colour. The colour it's in is the standard colour, is it?
Yeah, it's cargo grey.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much. Thanks for talking to us. So shout out to the Historic Commercial Vehicle Society, and we'll send them a little sunshine, as it says on this Royal Mail van. And it's one of the Moggy based vans. Some were badged as Morris, and I think some were badged as Austin's. This is a 1971, and it's one of, believe it or not, 52,000 of them that were used by the post office for mail collection, and also by the post office telephones for the engineer. This particular one's a genuine car. It served in Leamington Spa, Warwickshire from 70 or 77, and then became a builder's vehicle. So a shout out to the guys who rescued that one. We've got a fabulous VW Golf based Caddy pickup there as well. Great to see commercial vehicles, often worth more than the car derivatives because they're so rare. So this is obviously Simca based. It's actually badged as a Talbot half-ton van. It's a right-hand drive, so they must have sold these clearly in the UK as vans under the Talbot brand. Again, in beautiful order in this dark blue. What a stunning condition that is in for a van. 1100 VF1. If this is your van, it's a credit due to you. Fabulous. So we've got this fabulous ex-Royal Mail van. It's a genuine van. It's the 200 J4. The owner's restored it, and we'll have a chat with him in a second. Look at the features here. It's absolutely immaculate. I've seen Jaguar E-types in worse condition than this. Exactly as it would have been back in the day. The owner remembers seeing these and had a great recollection. And look, it's even got a collection of spare rubber bands, just in case you need them. It's got the sliding door, so you're in and out fairly quickly, picking up the post or making your deliveries. And some period signage on the side as well. Royal Mail there. I mean, I cannot stress enough what condition this vehicle is in, because I've seen cars here today that haven't been as well prepared as this one. I absolutely adore that one, guys, and I hope you do too. Credit due to the owner, and we'll have a chat with him and get him to tell us a bit more about his painstaking restoration. So Andrew, tell us about this fabulous J4 van, ex-Royal Mail. You say it's one of just a few that survive, yeah?
Yes, 1.5 diesel. One of the last that Royal Mail had, because they had them for donkey's years. There's one in Debden in a museum, and this is the only known survivor of a diesel J4.
It's in stunning order. I love some of the touches you've done on it. You've still got, I'll pick out in the B-roll some of the features in there, like the Chubb locks and things like this, and the
Yep.
rubber bands, but you've done lots of work to this.
Yeah, it took us 5 years on and off to restore.
And what about did you consult historic photographs? Did you get help from Royal Mail?
No, well, we used to deal in them since we were kids, really. When my dad had a van business, well, we've still got it now. And we used to have loads of these, so we remembered on how they were and what locks they had and where everything went. We managed to find this one. Took us 5 years to restore, on and off.
Wow.
It was a bit of a state, but it's a nice van.
It's a stunning condition now.
Yeah.
Well, we'll obviously cut in some photographs of that. Thank you very much for talking to us. Thank you.
Well.
So this two-owner 1800 LX Mondeo is not quite the earliest. The earliest cars were K-plated, but it's reasonably early. It's an L. What would that make in a 93? It's got, I think, GLX wheel trims on it, but that's the only thing I've noticed already. It's in pretty reasonable order, and it's for sale for a very reasonable $995. I wish I hadn't seen that in one sort of way, because I quite fancy adding one of those to a little collection. That's in superb order. When did you last see these? There was commonplace, right, driving up your backside on the M1, flashing its lights, but all joking aside, I had one. I unfortunately had the diesel 1.8 TD, which wasn't a barrel of laughs, but I'm sure as a 1.8 with a Zetec engine, it's a far better drive. Great handling, big input from Richard Perry Drones there, a Ford chassis guru. So this 1963 Humber Hawk was owned by the first owner from 63 right the way through to 74, but the interesting part of this, it was actually used in Aden whilst the first owner was working there. Then he brought it back to the UK. So what a fabulous history. He had that car for quite a while, right the way through to his death. Current owner has the car for sale. It's stunning, this Humber Hawk. It really is absolutely stunning condition, and I think it'll make somebody an absolutely fabulous classic car. So of course the party piece, now I know it, I'll have to point it out, is the fuel filler cap is, wait for it, behind that rear reflector. You may know that if you watch some of my other videos. If not, then we both know. Fabulous. So a car that's celebrating a birthday this year is the Pagoda. I think the W113 Mercedes, introduced obviously in 1963. Stunning car. Pagoda so named because of that dip in the roof. This one is beautiful. Look at that interior. That's sort of, what would that be? Bakelite steering wheel. Those lovely instruments. This one's, as common with many, is an automatic. We'll just try and get you a better look. I love the fact it's a two-tone. Hard top is in this instance fitted. And so replacing directly the W113 was the W107. This car had an incredibly long life, ran from 72 right to 89. I think this Coupe 280 SE, I think this is a W treble one. I'll put that on screen, I can't remember at the moment. And this is more unusual, so though it's R107 based, it's the frankly more usable coupe. So you've got the benefit of the full fixed head. Pretty looking cars actually, so all the best features of the R107, but combined with decent rear seats. And probably you can see when I get the side shot how much bigger that car actually is. Very nice. I think this is Almondine Red 230 CE from 1989, pre-facelift car with the good old gingicators on. Now this one's been started up now. This one is an S-Class, so it's a second generation S-Class, Sonder class for special, but it is the revered 6.9 litre engine in this one, so you really need to be a proper plutocrat to have one. James Hunt apparently had one back in the day, and James is, unfortunately, when he was a bit hard up, ended on bricks to save the road fund license, but it's a lovely car. So this ex-Californian Ponton is also on the Mercedes-Benz Club stand. It was actually with the same owner from new at the same address, so the same owner, and he never moved. It's in stunning condition. I dare say the owner's done a lot of work to get it like this, but you know how much upkeep black paint looks. It's got that fabulous period dashboard, clock in the centre there, lovely period radio. I think that looks like a column gear change, and look at where the handbrake is, the sort of umbrella type handbrake. And it's got a roof rack on. It looks like it might have had that roof rack from new, I don't know. It's in lovely condition, isn't it? What a beautiful 220S that is. Now I recorded one of these recently to show at Brooklands, and I know it's a Reliant Sabre 6. This is the fixed head. I think it was built in conjunction with an Israeli company for export, or certainly for building their markets, co-developed with Reliant. The interesting thing is it's a pretty colour, this one, and just have a look inside it. Isn't that beautiful? That red interior really complements it, but don't you think from the back it has got echoes of Aston Martin DB5, DB6, and it's none the worse for it, I have to say. Very pretty car. So this is a Reliant Sabre, the later one, which was the replacement for the SS1 that Reliant introduced originally with Ford and Nissan engines, and the later engines using the 1.4 K series engine from the Rover group. It's lovely. It's still got the pop-up lights. They were still legal by that stage, I believe. Often overlook these cars. I mean, you recognise, look at the Ford switchgear there. You recognise the Ford gear lever. Quite a lot came from the Ford parts bin, and quite overlooked they really are. Light, probably don't have the rust issues, and pretty rare, aren't they? Very nice. So this fabulous Cresta, PC Cresta, we're going to have a chat with the owner in a second, the lady who owns it. It's in stunning condition. I think it had some heavy damage in the past due to the storm. She's going to tell us about that. What a beautiful, beautiful car it is. Got that typical sort of US stateside style and influence GM cars of that period. Absolutely lovely there. We're going to take a look inside. I will just open the door now. Oops. Second try there. So fortunately it's got a floor mounted gear change, so a bit more recognisable to many of those who've never driven with a column mounted gear change in the car. Absolutely great dash, really thin rim steering wheel. Not got the strip, it's got a normal speedo there. Bonnet release, obviously probably a choke, and quite a fair bit of room in it as well. Actually, to be fair, it's not a small car. Absolutely. So Julie, tell us about this PC Cresta.
So basically we bought the car in 1990 from a widow. Unfortunately, she was getting rid of the car. It had been damaged in the 87 Hurricane, so the damage was all down the right side. So we had that repaired when we bought it. And then we've been showing it ever since, so we've owned the car for 32 years.
Wow. And what attracted you to buy a Cresta? Some connection with it? You know, it's not the sort of car you would get normally, an MGB maybe, but a Cresta, it's a bit left field, isn't it?
Yeah, I know a lot of these cars, there's not many left, and when we heard about it, literally she was just telling it for £300, and we just thought, what have we got to lose? So I half own it with my brother-in-law, and so we just thought, right, we'll go for it. And of course, you know, when we got it, then we realised how sort of rare basically this car is. There's not many of them left at all, because a lot of them are used for banger racing.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, so.
And it's a column gear change on this one, is it, or floor gear change?
It's floor gear.
It's floor gear change,
yeah,
okay,
it's
so a bit more recognisable. Oh, fabulous. And you get a lot of attention, I guess, driving this, do you?
Yeah, just a bit, especially when they see it's a female driver as well.
Excellent.
Even
oh, no,
more.
very good. Power to you for that. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks. So we've got another Cresta. This is an earlier one. This is the PB Cresta. I think it's the PB1. I'll put it in the comments if I'm wrong. You might have seen a couple of these on my video from the Vauxhall event at Gaydon a few weeks ago. Again, you know, worth pointing out that wrap round windscreen, that stateside style, and look how much that screen wraps round and how much the door cuts into the A pillar is actually tilted forward, and the C pillar is tilted well backwards. What an incredible looking car they are. You can see where the influence, the American influence, was with these. Brilliant. So another Vauxhall, this time worth pointing out, this is a 50s Velox. Absolutely lovely. Again, you know, stateside styling, that period after World War II was incredibly influential for car design. Look at that, you know, quite a high seating position, column mounted gear change, lovely chrome detail in there. Quite a fair bit of room in the back as well. Look at that, how much room there is in the back of it, leg room. Some really substantial bodywork there. And I love some of the design features on this one, like those rear lamps. You know, they're not just perched on the corner, they're actually sort of nestled in that chrome housing there. Tiny lights, aren't they, and reflectors. Oh, I do like that one. Fantastic. So Mazda are well known for persevering with the Wankel rotary engine that NSU had and failed really to perfect. This is a 1200cc, yeah, because obviously capacity is measured differently with the Wankel engine, producing around 115 horsepower. The owner is a serial owner of these. He's got 3 of them. This one was purchased from a lady owner and who had it from new in 1983. Looks like a later facelift car. I think they did come out slightly before this. Echoes of Porsche 924, pop-up lights as you'd expect. You can see they've obviously looked a little bit at the Porsche 924 design. Those lovely rear lights on it. It's in stunning condition, isn't it, really? So this is a rare beast, isn't it? Apparently there are only 6 left. We'll have a chat with the owner in a second, who's had it quite a long time. It's fabulous, fabulous condition. It's rotary engined, under 1,000 cc's. Lovely coupe design, stunning, stunning condition. The old Mazda logo there on the steering wheel that we'd recognise back in the day. And I say, having a rotary engine car is pretty rare, but for one in the early 70s, that's something else, isn't it? That is absolutely stunning. I mean, I'll cut in some pictures of some video of the engine running, because it sounds sweet as a nut. Lovely features. Look at those rear lights and that badge there, stunning. And as you can hear, hopefully on video, sounds very, very, very sweet. Philip, tell me about this fabulous RX. So it's got to be a rotary engine car, but a very early one, hasn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's 1972. It's a 10A rotary, twin distributor. It's one of the first rotaries that Mazda made as a 10A. It's only 982cc, but it produces 110 brake horsepower.
An original UK car, or
original
import?
UK?
Oh wow,
yeah,
that
yeah.
must have been super rare to have one of these,
Yep.
because would have been subject to massive import duty, I guess, back in the day, wouldn't it?
That's right. That's right. Absolutely.
And you've had it how long?
34 years.
Wow. So it's been in the family then, I guess.
No, I just bought it when I was 16, just to restore.
And how long did that take you?
It took a couple of years. It was a question of learning how to repair cars at that point, and built the engine. And
Well, you didn't start with halves. You started with a rotary
That's
engine
right.
rather than a four. You could have gone in there gently and had a
Yeah,
4-cylinder or a
that's right.
6-cylinder, but.
Yeah.
And what about sourcing parts for it these days? 'Cause
Oh,
it's
almost impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the UK.
You get parts machined and things like this instead, or?
Just have to just sort of try and get bits wherever you can, really.
Oh, fabulous. We'll take a look round. I'll cut in some pictures of the engine and the other features on the car.
Okay.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you for that, Philip.
No problem.
Ford Orions are thin on the ground now, and particularly these Mark 1 pre-facelift cars. There were two versions of the gear. There was the 1.6 non-injection and the 1.6 injection. I had both of these. This is beautiful condition. Is that Caspian blue maybe? I'm not sure. Got that recognisable interior with that velour, obviously a step up from the standard cars. Basically a bit more than a booted Escort, you know, a fair bit more room in that boot. Great to see one here, and it looks like it's what, an 86, so not long before the facelift. So on the Be Unique stand is this lovely Mark 1 Fiesta XR2. Not I, still it's got a Burton enhanced engine by the look of this one. That engine bay, I'm not sure if you can see how well on camera that looks, but it's a stunner. In fact, the whole car's in stunning condition. So collectible and so rare, these cars now, and certainly in less numbers surviving than the car that followed it. Absolutely lovely, isn't it? So this is possibly the holy grail of Cortina Mark IVs. It's an S, and it's a 2.3 litre, so V6S. It looks like a UK car from what I can tell. Looking at the trims, got that vinyl roof, got that very important S badging. You've seen the black rear panel. There are so few of these left in S trim. Famously used, I think, on some episodes of the Sweeney. Lovely to see one here today, and I really like that. Now let's see if the eagle-eyed of you can spot the deliberate mistake with this one. So it's a Sierra Estate. It looks like it's an 89. It's a lovely colour. It's a Ghia. Any guesses? Well, it's either a misbuild or it's been done on purpose. It's got the sapphire grille. So the sapphire grille didn't extend all the way down as the grille on the Sierra did. So I'm not quite sure what the story is behind that, but I'll try and find out. So you want a Triumph Stag? Well, you want a red one, a yellow one, a blue one, or perhaps no, let's go back. Let's see, you fancy a red one after all, or a white one, or maybe a green one, an early green one by the look of it, and the look at the wheel trims on that one. Yeah, there's plenty of Stags, a well supported car, a well supported club by the look of it. Well, the Hornets are buzzing today. Well, the Wolseley Hornets are. That's lovely. I think it looks like a tartan red one, almost like a Mini with added practicality, isn't it? Based on the Mini, as everybody knows, but obviously with a much more practical boot. Beautiful condition, some of these. Let's have a look around the back, because that's where the action is on a Wolseley, and that's the difference here. That extra boot makes all the difference, doesn't it? Absolutely does. In fact, there's one over there that's open, so we're going to take a look, and we're just going to have a look and see how much bigger that is than the Mini boot, and the answer is quite a lot bigger than a Mini, quite a lot. So this was fated as a British car to beat the world, and arrived to a rousing reception in 1980. This particular car, I think this is an 81, had been in long-term storage for about 28 years. I learned to drive in these. I'm sure many people watching have got an experience, and quite a fair bit of room in them. If you were coming up, trading up from a Mini, it would be quite a pleasant experience. The steering wheel is still quite upright, still bus-like. I did battle with one of BSM's cars. I'm not sure how it survived that experience with my first driving escapades, but this one is absolutely stunning, isn't it? It's in that sort of what hearing aid beige, but you just don't see cars like that anymore, and we've got so many fond memories of Metros. Lovely. So like me, I'm sure you can always find time for a Capri, and this is a Capri 2 litre S. Always wanted the fishnet Recaros some of these came with. I think maybe it was on the 3 litre. Lovely order, this one. They've got those small RS style wheels. They look small by today's standard, and it's in good order. And what year is it from? Oh, it's an 83 by the look of it. 82, 83. Lovely. Now this channel is not a stranger to light commercials, and hence we appreciate a Bedford CF350. It's, I think, the Series 2 Bedford CFs, liveried up with Peter Wandle's motor engineering livery. The difficult thing to get across on this video is the paint finish is out of this world. Somebody has really spent huge amounts of time on this vehicle to get it to this paint finish. I mean, the shine on that would make you very happy. Beautiful. So this is lot 76 cars, still at the Bromley Pageant. We have hardly covered anything yet. There's a whole field of cars behind me to go at, so I'm pretty sure we can bring you some great content from this field of dreams behind me. So stick with me. Plenty to see, plenty more to watch, and hopefully to enjoy, so please keep watching. So this is an Auto Union 1000, and Auto Union was made up of 4 companies which I think merged in the 30s to form the Auto Union brand, hence the 4 circles. Now you might be thinking, well, hang on, doesn't that look like an Audi? Well, in actual fact, Auto Union and NSU merged together and were folded into the Audi brand, and subsequently that's what became the Audi brand today. Fabulous looking car, sort of and actually a very attractive pillarless coupe with quite a bit of room in it. Very distinctive styling, rare to see one. Right hand drive, well, if it's a UK car, it will have been one of a very small number of cars, won't it? Possibly imported, I'm not sure. So we're on a quest to bring you the more unusual cars, and one car not being celebrated yet, although it's actually got its 50th birthday this year. Happy birthday, Allegro. This is a 79. All those stories about if you jack them or they twist or they're more aerodynamic in reverse, who knows whether they're true or not. But the one thing with the Allegro is people tend to forget that the Motoring Press, Autocar and others actually received the car extremely well at launch. So I'm not quite sure whether where it picked up that reputation from, but nevertheless worth celebrating. Next to it, an earlier Metro. This is a W. This must be one of the first. What if it's a 1980? It must be one of the very original cars, because the launch was only in 1980. Superb colour. I'm trying to think, is it zircon blue or moonraker blue? I'm not sure. One of those will be right, I think. So we've got a unicorn here, haven't we? We've got a Citroen XM, but not only is it an XM, but it's an XM Estate, Familiale, whatever they call them. Wow. When's the last time you saw one of these? Not for a long time. This is one hell of a family car. Look at the amount of room in that. I don't think they had the third row of seats. Self-leveling suspension, all the Citroen quirkiness you could want. A worthy successor to the CX in many ways. And this one looks like it's a 95 maybe, in superb condition, absolutely superb. Great to see an XM here, first one of the show. So we'll follow up a bit of Citroen quirkiness by a brace of 2CVs. Not so much to say about those, I think they're pretty well documented. And of course we've got the DS, the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Citroen DS. These are fantastic. Now you can see this one has got the lights that actually turn in the direction of the steering, because actually there's some steering lock on this car. But you really have to think that when this car was previewed, what I think in the late 50s, something like early 60s, it must have been like it had landed from Mars compared with all the other cars out there. What a fabulous looking car it is even now. So quirky. I mean, you can imagine self-leveling suspension. Allegedly you can drive these on 3 wheels if you so wish. Beautiful. So this is the Citroen C15, which had a hugely longer life based on the VZ, hence the Citroen VZ front end of it. This one's been turned into quite a sizable motorhome. Oh, looks great, doesn't it? So back in the 60s and 70s, Ford of Europe operated it seemingly with complete independence from Ford of Britain. And although this looks to be Cortina related, in actual fact it's a vehicle we never got. It's the Taunus. I think that's the correct pronunciation of it. But this one, it's a pretty looking car. It's reminiscent of a Granada coupe, which we did get. But look at that fastback styling. That is something that we never saw, and it's a pity because I think it's quite an attractive vehicle, to be honest with you. I haven't seen another one, certainly not recently. Although Mark II Jag related but badged and with identifying grille to show it's a Daimler, it is a Daimler V8. Now these were fitted with the remarkable Turner V8 engine, which arguably was a better engine than Jag's equivalent. And they went on to use this engine for a while, and people who've got these 250s do really highly rate them. Supercars. So this is one of my favourites here, to be honest with you, I must confess. It's a Mark I Ford Granada 3-litre gear. It must be a late one, because the Mark II car, sort of first ones of those were on S-platers. This is a black one. It's got those trademark gear alloys which came on the later cars. I think the early cars had the hubcaps, plenty of chrome, vinyl roof, and these distinctive rear tail lights. I do like those cars, I must admit. I'd love to have owned one of those at some stage, and chased around West London shouting, "Get your trousers on, you're nicked." So as the owners pointed out, the engine on this vehicle is in the front, so it frees up quite a lot more space than the equivalent Volkswagen. And we'll take a look at the back of the second, this narrow track. We'll ask him how it actually drives. I've often wondered with these narrow track stroke Dodge vans what they're actually like to drive. He's quite a tall chap, and I think he can actually fit his way in it there as well. So we'll just try and get some shots of the inside. He very kindly opened it up for me, and look how much space there is there. That's a shocker, isn't it? If you're used to a VW van, so the roof pops up, you've got plenty of room for a family meal in there. We've got a fridge, we've got the kettle, and we've got that pop-up roof. What a fabulously useful vehicle that is. And honestly, when's the last time you saw one of these either? But having a classic that's so useful, that must be great. Let's have a chat with the owner and find out a bit more. Gareth, tell us about this fabulous Comma, this narrow track van. I think sold as Commas and Dodgers. Tell us a bit more about them and this particular motorhome, please.
Well, this is a Comma PB, 1972. It's a Wanderer made by Caravans International. I think they were based in Dorset, I believe. Yeah, as I say, I've had this. It's a 1972 van, standard 1725 petrol engine in it, 4-speed, and it's I think, yeah, I've had it about 15 years. Done some fair bit of work to it. It's had some starter motor. I'll put electronic fuel pump.
Not so many of these left. There
No.
can't be, can there?
No, there's not too many of these around now. They're popular. The T2s are very popular, and these are becoming quite rare. So.
And what's it like driving with that narrow track? I've often wondered when I saw these as BT vans how they drove.
It is. It's interesting cornering. You have to be very careful.
You have to plan your corner a little bit, yeah?
You can't overcook the corners, so you have to take it quite easy because it does roll quite a bit.
Have you been far with this one? Have you travelled far away?
We used to go to Somerset quite regularly. I'm from Rochester,
right?
So it's done some distance, and they are generally reliable vans if they're well maintained. And I'll try and look after this one well, but they will do the mileage, and it's it's good once they get going, but they're quite slow. You have to allow plenty of time to get anywhere.
Exactly, 0 to 60 timed in minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's it's an interesting drive. You have to just be very, very careful. It's not like driving a modern car.
No.
It's a totally different way to drive.
Indeed. Well, thank you for telling us about it. Much appreciated.
That's
Thank
all right.
you.
Yeah. Well, glad you like it.
Yeah. So the Ford Sierra had its UK debut at the Motor Show at Birmingham in 1982. I know, I was there, and this has got to be one of the early cars. It's in a high spec, relatively speaking. Most of the volume was in the gear. It's got those so-called dustbin lid wheel trims that, remember, albeit these are on a gear, probably slightly higher spec. It's got that fabulous velour interior. It's an automatic, this one as well, and unlike many of them, the dash is in reasonably condition. Great to see this. Hard to believe the controversy when this car was launched. Ford dealers were actually stocking up on the outgoing Cortina Crusader because it was so Marmite at first with the design. Now, one thing that was added and is not on this car, the car did suffer in crosswinds, and there is an additional spoiler on later cars that's just attached ahead of this rear side window to improve rearward stability in crosswinds, which is one. So this was the work of a Welsh butcher and a German prisoner of war that never went home. Yes, it's a Gilburn. I think it's up until now the only car manufacturer actually manufactured in Wales, although TVR keep threatening to do something, and Ineos did but then didn't. Fabulous to see these here today. What killed these cars off was in around about 1973 there was a change in the application of VAT, because I think there was some benefits that the company had by owners finishing some of the work on the cars themselves on taxation. This is a stunning car, isn't it? And it's a useful car. So it's a coupe, but it's this saloon style silhouette and decent sized boot by the look of it. I do love that sort of apricot colour as well. Very pretty. So we've got an 82 Onyx Maserati Kyalami. See another, we'll talk to the owner about it. Less than 200 built even worldwide. Never mind that came into the UK. Stunning green colour. Lovely coupe style there. Apologies about the sign in the way. I haven't seen many of these. I think the owner also owns a Maserati Mexico. I'll even have to look that one up. I don't know what that one is, which is a bit sad. Beautiful interior. If only you could smell on YouTube, you make a fortune. Look at that dash top that is in like a velour dash top. Fantastic. Those instruments there. Fasten your seatbelts, yeah, don't forget that. Small steering wheel, hazard flashes there. And quite an interesting design just for the automatic transmission selector. Quite a fair bit of room. You can see why these are highly regarded. Mark, tell us about this fabulous Maserati Kyalami. Tell us a bit more about it, because this is a pretty rare car, isn't it, in right-hand drive?
It is a very rare car. They made 192 cars worldwide, but only 25 in right-hand drive. It's probably only about...
Oh, worldwide?
Yeah. Well, when Di Tomaso bought Maserati, he needed some cars just to use as his I suppose feature cars really. So he took the Di Tomaso Longchamp and the Deauville and turned them into the Kyalami and the Quattroporte. So that was the start of the sort of venture with these cars. But they're all very sort of low numbered cars anyway, because of coming out of the fuel crisis and trying to make a mark. But that's why Citroen sold Maserati in the first place, because they didn't make any money out of them. You know, but as a car, they're fantastic. They really are. They're very, very drivable. It's like a big GT that you can drive in a great speed and great comfort and great style.
You've had it a while?
16 years, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I've fully restored it. You know, yeah. From the start.
And how many others survive in the UK, do you think, or do you know?
Yeah, I think there's a good survival rate. I think I know of 5 Kylamis that I see on a regular basis, but it's probably only about 10 in the country anyway, really. So yeah, it's again a low number car. You're not going to see many of them.
No, fabulous. Well, thank you for talking to us and answering the questions.
Yeah.
Cheers. So we've got the successor to the 190 Mercedes, the W202. Interesting thing with this car is the colour. I don't recall ever seeing one in this shade of orange before. I think it's possibly it's a sport version, so it's a reasonably high spec. Got that lovely leather interior, automatic like many of them. But as I say, the outstanding feature with this one for me is the colour. I'd have to try and find out a bit more about that one if I can. So whilst Bruno Sacco was at Mercedes, one I guess of his last designs might have been this R170 SLK. It's got the Varia roof, which is a hardtop that folds away. This particular one's for sale, and unusually it's a manual. And how many of these were manuals? Handfuls of them. I know because I've been looking, and it's a lovely shade of red, isn't it? What a very, very nice usable car, and relatively. So this little Old English White Beauty is an NSU TT marked. I thought this was maybe the Prince family of cars. NSU, the brand I think I mentioned earlier, eventually rolled into partnership, eventually became part of VW Group under Audi. Fabulous rear engine cars. We'll take a look in there. Plenty of this one's obviously had some tuning. We'll try and have a chat with the owner about this one because it really looks like a hell of a unicorn. So let's see what he's got to say about this car. Richard, tell about this fabulous car. I thought it was an NSU Prince. It's marked TT. What is it?
Well, it is an NSU Prince.
Oh, okay.
But the TT version, which has the 1200cc engine. There are about 6 registered on the road now, and there's probably about a dozen on the sawn at the moment. But I got this about 10, 12 years ago, and it was a runner when I got it, but I've gradually built it up and converted it to the 1200 TT.
And you've widened the track on it as well, or?
Yeah, I've put the wheel arches on it as well and got the wider wheels.
That made a big difference to the handling, did it?
Certainly does, yeah, certainly does, and it gives the car a bit of character. A lot of people think it shouldn't be done, but that's what I prefer.
And this is what a UK, was it a UK car originally?
Yeah, it's originally imported into the UK in 71, right-hand drive. But I believe when they come over, there was import duties and purchase.
About 40% import duty, I reckon,
massive
pre-EC.
Yeah, and you would never have bought this compared to, say, a twin cam Escort, because they were both similar prices. Right. So you would have never bought this one.
You got to really want one, hadn't you?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, fabulous. Oh, thank you for telling us about it.
Pleasure.
Much appreciate it.
Pleasure.
So we're getting towards the back end of the Cavalier Mark 3s. This one is badged as classic. Over here we've got one ironically in the same colour, and this is the Expression limited edition vehicle. Beautiful colour, isn't it? They were good cars, and to be honest with you, having driven them back to back in the day with the Sierras, I preferred the engines and drivetrains on these, to be honest with you. So very delightful to see a Volvo 850R in that lovely green colour, but next to it we've got one of its granddads. So it is a Volvo 244 pre-240. It's what, a 1980. It's got those wipers on the lights. The original cars had the round headlamps, and they moved over to the square headlamps for this facelift. I think late 70s, maybe this was the changeover year in fact. Lovely interior, that woven interior. I'm not quite sure what that material is. Obviously got the familiar Volvo dash and those big impact bumpers. Before they introduced the smaller bumpers, they had these. It's really rare to see an early, more base spec Nova. I think this might be a Nova Swing. I'm not sure. It's not badged as such. They really are pretty cars. The 3 doors more so than the 5 doors to me, because of these bubble arches that the car's got, those lovely steel wheels. I think I may have seen this car in the past and filmed it. I'm not sure. At Brooklands, got that lovely checked interior. That dashboard that slopes towards you. And it is, again, it's in immense condition. Got the right number plates on that one, got those sort of embossed metal number plates with the raised letters and digits. That's lovely, isn't it? These are the earlier Victors. There's a pair of them here. They were badged, originally badged as 101. Some issue with Peugeot about using the 01, a bit like the issue Porsche had using 901 and ended up using 911. Some say it was they had 101 improvements over the previous car. More interesting still is this Mark 1 Cavalier. So this was Vauxhall's first real success into the fleet market with this rear-wheel drive Ascona based Cavalier. This one's stunning. Is that Jamaica yellow? I might have to check that one out. Absolutely lovely car. We'll try and have a chat with the owner if we get the chance, because it's rare that you actually see these. What a fabulous car. John, tell us more about this Mark 1 Cavaliers, because we don't see them. I got the colour right, it's Jamaica yellow.
Jamaica yellow, that's right, yes.
What year is it from?
It's 1979, and I've owned it for the last 40 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
40 years of
40
ownership,
years.
that's
Right,
incredible.
yeah. Yes, the only car I've ever owned. And thank you. They're saying showing me age, but no, I've had it since '83. It's had 2 resprays in its lifetime, since I've had it at any rate, and the only bodywork that's been replaced is the front wing.
Wow, and there's so few of these left, aren't there?
I do believe there's about 200 of them left.
Oh, okay, more than I
yes.
thought in actual fact.
Yeah, mind you, that's if there's any sort of on the road, it might include like the Sawn.
And it was in daily use, I guess at the beginning it was in daily use, wasn't it?
Yeah, actually, it originated from Tate and Lyle. It's one of a fleet of their cars. And
Okay,
then,
ex-fleet car.
Yeah, I understand that the person that used to drive it, when they sold the cars off, he bought it, so he became the second owner,
Right.
but the first driver still.
Oh,
and
right.
then I'm the third owner, and the second driver.
Fabulous. Well, thank you for telling us about it.
Okay,
Much
no
appreciated.
problem. Yeah.
So this, my friends, is a Trojan. It is a 1-cylinder engine with a fantastic 10 horsepower, 4-speed and a reverse. Now Trojan actually built these under license. Trojan are better known for vans in the UK. If you don't know, have a look that one up on Wiki, because they were actually quite a force in the van market and really well known as a manufacturer. And before their demise, this one is one of their bubble cars. Originally sold in left-hand drive format, didn't sell very well, then changed to right-hand drive format, and that's a true survivor. But bubble cars are becoming interesting, not least of all because of their fuel economy, I guess. So these Celica convertibles were hideously expensive. One of the reasons was, I think the conversion for the roof was done by the American Sunroof company, so the cost of shipping the car all over the place for the conversions meant they became quite an expensive car in the day. Unusual to see them. Not many were built or sold simply because of the price outside the US, but this one's a lovely example, isn't it? Got the trademark pop-up lights. Nice to see it. So supplied by Coronation Garage Frinton is this Toyota Space Cruiser. Check out this. Have you seen another? Well, I remember them, but they were sold in limited numbers. This sort of cab over, typically Japanese design, really narrow body, but well appointed. You know, a step up from a minibus, but as executive transport, as family transport, the Space Cruiser was pitched into that niche in the marketplace. I have not seen one of these for absolutely years. Wow, great to see some of these left wheel cars here today, isn't it? So this, I'm reliably informed, is a Trabant Forest, so built for the East German military and the Forestry Commission. About a couple of thousand of them built. Slight differences, the Forestry Commission one doesn't have a gun rack, understandably. You probably don't need such extensive arms to kill a squirrel, but absolutely fantastic. Up until the A pillar here, it is standard Trabant, I am told. But from here onwards it all starts to get a bit interesting, doesn't it? So you've got that wipe down interior, you've got a bit of mini moat going on here, you've got decent rear seats, a bit of boot space, and it's got that lovely green hood. Well, I said to the owner, this is not just left field, it's from another field over there far in the distance. What a crazy car, fabulous to see that here. So here's the 2-cylinder 600cc engine. It runs on a combination of petrol and oil, I think 50-to-1 ratio. Owner's just explained, you know, some of the intricacies of this. There's plenty of room to work in them, but having the petrol tank so close to the engine and everything else, that could make for lively transport, couldn't it? Fabulous. So the first car built by Nissan in the UK at the Sunderland factory was in fact the Bluebird, built for the UK market, moderate success in fleet. In fact, it's great to see one of these here today because not so many survive. I mean, typically of its period. This one's a manual. Let's just have a cheeky look inside here. That sort of typical Japanese switchgear of the time. Simple. Don't bother looking for the aircon because it ain't there. And although it has got a sunroof, these were super equipped. I remember a neighbour of mine, my parents, getting one of these back in the day and being astounded about the amount of extras the vehicle had from new. Really, really surprising how well equipped they were. So what's special about this Peugeot 405? Well, it was actually owned by Richard Atwood, who is a Le Mans winner. So it might not look much, but this car has been driven by a Le Mans winning racing driver. Fantastic, and it's for sale. So we've got an Isuzu MXC. These are rare cars. They're even sold in Japan, believe it or not. Only sold in Japan, in fact. But with a diesel engine in, it's difficult to believe, isn't it? This one's a stunning example. I think I might have seen it last year. Got those typical Japanese mirrors on there. Great to see it. That's got to be pretty rare in the UK, hasn't it? So what is this, gentlemen? So don't cheat. Put your answer in the comments and I'll tell you at the end. It's a Hyundai, clearly, but when is the last time you saw one of these? I saw one that somebody stuck a 3.5 litre Rover engine in, but from Hyundai's back catalogue, it is indeed a Hyundai Stella 1.8 GL. Beat that one for rarity if you can. That is... Now this is a stunner, isn't it? A BMW E9 CS Coupe Sports, CSL. What a fantastic coupe. It says it's from 1975, which would be right for the end plate. That interior is gorgeous, isn't it? Look at that velour interior. Velour, very, very underrated, I would say. That wooden dash, really simplistic dials, fantastic wheel. What a pretty car, especially in that colour, isn't it? Wow. A 3 litre, it is a CSI Coupe Sport injection, and doesn't it look glorious? So shout out to the Crown and Cedric Club UK. Top Shout guys are here with some really rare cars. This C-plated V6. Wow, it's a long time since I've seen many of these. This is the VIP version, looking here. And of course there is a Sunny. Is that the N10 Sunny? I can't remember, I'll have to put that on screen. Fabulous to see these here today, isn't it? So apologies, I need to speak over this. Sadly, we've got one of the other clubs here proving how good their sound systems are, but never mind. We've got this fantastic early Crown. It looks like a UK car, right-hand drive, a 72. Let's have a quick peek inside this. Wow, look at that interior. Typically Japanese of the period. That thin rim steering wheel, probably just an AM radio, but that was probably a big deal back in the day, wasn't it? Vinyl roof, and again, UK car would have been quite rare. A Japanese car would have been a brave choice back in those days, wouldn't it? Lovely. So this would be an 87 on an E 2.4 SGX Laurel. Again, would have been a brave choice. Next to it, we have got another rare one, a Datsun 2400 Super 6. Now, I'm not sure, this is left-hand drive, so clearly not a UK car originally. but fantastic to see these here today. Just as the Japanese were starting to get to grips with exporting cars all over the world, they produced this and they started to shake things up a little bit, didn't they? So this is an MX-75 2.6 coupe. There are probably less than 6 on the road in the UK. It's had a substantial restoration by the owner and his father, and what a job they've done. We're going to have a chat with him in a minute, and it's an absolutely stunning car. I've had a sit inside it, and I am totally blown away by what the Japanese were turning out in the 1970s. No wonder there was a gentleman's agreement to limit volume of cars coming to the UK, because this must have spooked a few people. It's a fabulous car, isn't it? Some great detail. Clive, tell us about this car, because I don't know too much about these. It looks like it might be an original UK Crown coupe, but tell us, what's the truth?
Nope, you are correct. It's UK original registered 1972 Toyota Crown MS75 2.6 litre.
Wow. And you've had it for quite a while?
So this bit of a story for you with cars like this. So this one actually was 10 years ago. My dad bought it.
Oh, right.
So started a restoration project on it, and so we did it together in parts, nut and bolt job. Real stripped down, full and full. This was originally a light sky blue, but as you can see it's now white. Yep. 18 months ago, my dad emigrated. Unfortunately couldn't take the car with him because it's right-hand drive. They only accept left-hand drives.
Right.
The car was still having an engine rebuild done on it, so I inherited the car.
Lucky you.
And all its little bits to do. So it's been a race to get the car done for this show for this year.
Oh, fantastic. Well, it's a credit duty. I mean, there's some great features. I was saying before, probably on the radio, an AM radio. I love the fact it's even got an automatic antenna.
Yep.
Electric antenna, which is something else in auto. What's it, 2.6 is it?
Yep, 2.6, roughly 120 brake.
Okay.
So 3-speed auto box.
Is this is a shakedown run, is it, to Bromley Pageant, or?
This is its first run out. It's done 100-mile braking on the new engine rebuild, and it did 30 miles today.
Oh, fantastic.
So yeah, literally first time out. It's been probably in the last 20 years. This car has been owned by 3 people. The original owner had it for best part of 20 odd years. Next guy had it for about 10. He literally was a collector, bought and put him in a barn.
Oh wow,
he
fantastic.
Passed away. The wife wanted to get rid of his collection. My dad then bought it. It was a bit of a rust bucket, hence why it had the restoration done on it.
Oh, brilliant.
Nut and job bolt. Yeah, get it back on the road.
Well, congratulations. It's a standout car, it really is.
Thank you.
Thank you for talking to me about it.
No, absolutely.
So thanks once again for joining me on Lot 76 Cars at the fabulous Bromley Pageant 2023. Let's hope it's not the last Bromley Pageant. Let's hope there'll be one in 2024, because there's certainly a lot to look forward to. Hope you've enjoyed the owner interviews and the walk round of the show. Please like, share, subscribe, turn on notifications so as not to miss my next video, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks for watching.